Persistent concerns about gender inequality in the workplace. The 2016 Women in the Workplace report out yesterday says women are 30% less likely to be promoted to manager. Joining us right now are two women whose companies partnered in the study, Lean In President Rachel Thomas and McKinsey Senior Partner Lareina Yee. Good to see you, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us. So tell us about the report and why women seem to be falling a step behind.
The biggest finding is, at that critical promotion from entry level to manager, men are far more likely to get promoted, and so they're far more likely to get on the path to leadership. The other thing we found is women are asking for more. They're lobbying for promotions, they're negotiating for higher pay, but they face pushback when they do. We know that women who ask for more are more likely to be called aggressive, out for themselves, intimidating, and that matters.
That's still the case? I mean, I knew that this was the case like 20 years ago, but still people are saying you're aggressive if you ask for a promotion. I just can't believe it.
Unfortunately, it's true.
Yeah.
But women shouldn't be deterred from actually asking for that promotion or for that raise, because they want to be in these positions and get promoted, and they could be overpassed if they don't ask for it,
So here's
right?
the good news. We know that women who ask for more are more likely to get it than women who don't. And that just makes sense, right?
Yeah.
If you don't ask for it, you won't get it. So the good news is women are getting results. The bad news is they face pushback when they ask.
Lareina, is it still related to childbearing and becoming mothers, do you think?
Well,
that management, either if it's even a woman in management is concerned about a woman being out of the office for extended periods of time?
What we know is that actually for childbearing years, there are a lot of women who have home responsibilities as well as their primary work responsibilities. But the really interesting thing we found in the report is that for men who face that same circumstance, they also doubt whether they want the top jobs. So I think that just saying that women have children and that's an excuse and maybe they don't need that is not sufficient reason. The other thing is, I think what something you were keying on is the first piece, as Rachel was saying, is you have to ask for it. So good news, people are asking. But also, the receiver has to provide the opportunities. And one of the big gaps we see is that men and women leaders aren't providing enough opportunities for women to come up through the ranks.
So for women out there watching, what's the best way to ask, right? I think a takeaway is, should they approach a mentor and have another woman that's at a management level, talk to them, have them coach it through it? Is it aligning interests with the company? What's the best way for women to actually get that?
So one of the things that's really interesting is studies show that when women negotiate for others, they're equally as effective as men. The problem is when they negotiate for themselves.
Okay.
And this is rooted in age-old stereotypes, right? Like, we know that men are supposed to be aggressive, advocate for themselves, be leaders, so we celebrate them when they do. Women, we expect women to be nurturing, collaborative, team-oriented, so they face pushback. So one of the biggest things they can do is say not I, but we. To your point, it's good for the company, it's good for the organization, and that's the way to focus and diffuse some of the pushback they unfortunately face.
What about you, Lareina? What?
Well, I was going to say that there's a huge role that men can play here, because as women ask, they have to be received, and men can actually create opportunities. Instead of waiting for a woman to ask, how about seeing who's talented and saying, Maria, we think you would be fantastic for this role, and being her champion. Why leave her by herself to negotiate for every single promotion and raise? And it's actually more than just that. The micro inequities are day to day. They include things like challenging assignments, getting the hard feedback that allows you to grow and develop. So there's more than just the moment of the promotion. There's the day-to-day work experience.
And then there's training, right? What kind of training should women be taking on as they move throughout their careers?
Well, one of the things we know is women get less access to training and other opportunities, like Lareina said. Women and men are not having the same experiences in the workplace. And this matters because it's not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. We know companies that have diverse teams perform better. Companies that access the full population, women and men, perform better. So this is not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do.
And I would also say that training is not something just in a classroom. Training happens on the job. We all learn the best when we're actually in the line of fire. So for women, one of the things we found is that increasingly over time, they fall into these staff roles. And staff roles can be great. They're like your HR, your finance roles.
Right.
But we have to remember to give women the round-trip ticket back to the positions of power that lead to the top spot.
Yeah, I mean, 46% of the workforce, women. This is entry level, but only a handful, 19% will make it to the C-suite. Rachel, Lareina, great stuff. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Thank you.